Question number 7. Which among the following steps is most likely to be taken at the time of an economic recession? I think this is the current affair issue, but not directly concept related to current affair, because recently we got a crisis. Though the crisis is not a purely economic crisis, but it is a health crisis, but it has turned into an economic crisis because of the lockdowns and shutdowns. So a question is about the current affairs. If this current incident had not happened, probably we could not have get this question. But anyhow, when this economic recession is happened, and you know what is the recession, okay, this cycle coming downward. So in the business cycle, this part is recession. So now in this recession period, what among the following steps is most likely? You may take every step, but what is the most likely step that you must take? What is the most likely step that you must take? See, in the economic recession process, what happened is the demand comes down, production comes down, employment comes down, and based on the economic factors, the inflation may rise because of the supply constraint and all. But when it comes to the production and supply, production and consumption, there is a stagnation. People don't consume because they have some apprehensions. People don't produce because there is no consumption. People don't produce because there is no consumption. So people don't produce because there is no consumption, and when there is no production, there is no wages, and there is no wages, again there is no consumption. Again there is no consumption, there is no production. Again there is no production, there is no consumption. This cycle goes on and it will go like this, and it led to the depression. And whatever the currency that you are all having, it will become worthless. It has all become worthless, because when the production comes down, even though if you have 1000 rupees or 50,000 rupees, there is no value to that. But anyhow, this will happen. Now in this condition, what must be the most appropriate step? And option, they have given 4 options. Now you need to take the correct option. Reduction of expenditure on public projects. Reduction of expenditure on public projects. Okay, we will come to this first one. Cut in tax rates accompanied with increase in interest rate. See, cut in tax rate is a good idea, because okay, in an economic recession, people don't have money, and if you tax more, then definitely it is a problem to them. But one thing is accompanied by increase in interest rate. If the interest rates are increased, then people, the investor or the people, they don't get enough amount of money to spend in the economy. So this increasing interest rate is something wrong. Increasing interest rate is not an appropriate thing in case of a recession. There must be a loose policy. There must be a loose policy. Increasing tax rates accompanied by reductions. Again, you should not increase the tax rate. You should not increase the tax rate. Okay, 2 statements wrong. Now the leftover statement is B and D. Reduction of expenditure on public projects, increase in expenditure on public projects. See, the only thing, the Keynesian model, you are aware, when there is a recession, then definitely the government should take a responsibility, and they must pump more and more amount of money into the economy. That pumping of money will itself stimulates the economy, and that economy, the stimulation process must happen from the government side. So when the government is started spending on a particular project, means it can create employment, and thereby these people will start earn some amount of money, and with this money they can start producing the process, or the government can give some sort of incentive to the producer to produce more and more. Let the producer start the production more, and that create employment. That employment will lead to consumption, and that consumption again lead to the more production. So this is how the cycle start. So when we are at the stagnant level, the cycle has to be started by the government. So the increase in expenditure on public projects is correct. Reduction of expenditure on public projects is wrong, because government must be proactive as far as this entire production process is concerned. And Keynesian model says that there must be always a government involvement when something wrong happens. And during the economic recession, that the government must spend more in public projects. Okay. But government can do one more thing also. Instead of public projects, they simply pump the money into the economy. Simply pumping of money into the economy may not be the effective way of dealing the economic crisis. You have to be very careful. See, Keynes say that pump money, but pumping the money may happen in two ways. Pumping the money happened in two ways. One is either to pump the money into for the creation of the productive assets, or the pump the money just in the form of welfare, or just give the money or transfer the money. If you just give and transfer the money, the point is the efficacy of each and every rupee that you are spending in this form is very high compared to that of this. So that is the reason why if you get the option like spending more amount of money on productive assets or government projects and pumping simply the money into the economy, this is also a good thing, but not so effective as the first method. First one is the most suitable and most appropriate method, because the second problem may lead to inflation. If it not used properly, if this amount of money is not used properly. Okay. So that is one thing you need to understand. Okay. So the option B is the answer.
Amrita IAS Academy.